Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Native MMA Radio. Here we are with an amazing main event for this Saturday's fight. Frankie the Answer Edgar will be taking his talents to the bantamweight division to take on none other than contender Pedro Munhoz in his very first fight. This is a fight that could really propel the Answer into the bantamweight title picture with a victory here. And on the flip side, it could really keep Pedro on stride to contending for that bantamweight title. It's a really fun fight between these guys. The biggest takeaway from it when I see Frankie keeps going down, though, is the one thing that made him successful besides his resilience in the lightweight division was his speed. Now that we're kind of evening out the speed between guys, I don't know how well the Answer is going to do with this new found weight class. I do think this is the natural size against the guys who he should be facing, and I really feel like this could be potentially the right move for him in the future.
Yeah, maybe he will be able to out-grapple everyone because his grappling is very good. You know, he's been fighting in the lightweight division before, so he's for sure he will bring some power in this division. That's for sure. But yeah, very interesting. I don't think that the speed will be an issue for him. I feel like he still look fast, and he will have more power than the majority of these people.
We got to talk about these awesome stickers that I got real quick. Native MMA Radio stickers on deck, bro. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Anyways, this is a great card. A lot of people you might not know about. You and I talked about it earlier. There was, the first two fights have all debuting fighters on them. The next two fights after that, half of the fights are, debuting fighters. And a lot of people that maybe you might not know of on Thursday, today, but you're definitely going to know after Saturday. I feel like if you don't know Mariana Angapova yet, you definitely will. The girl is amazing, and I really feel like her story and her resilience has shown why she is as good as she is. She's from what? I don't want to say it wrong. She's from Croatia?
Let me check. I feel like she's from Croatia. No, she's from Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan. Sorry, all our Kazakhstan fans. But an amazing step up in competition for her. She fought Hannah Cipher in her UFC debut. Looked amazing in that fight. Great kickboxing, and really somebody who could flourish in one day potentially challenge the flyweight champion Valentina Shevchenko. And I mean truly challenge her, not just be a sparring partner.
Well, that's all we are waiting for. We are waiting for some challenges for those two champions, Amanda Nunes and Valentina Shevchenko. That's all we're waiting for.
Yeah, OSP, Alonzo Minifield, co-main event. I really don't see that one. Seeing the judges' scorecards. Mike Rodriguez, we have him coming on the show later. We're going to do a quick little interview around noontime with him. So can't wait to talk to him. Daniel Rodriguez, we obviously seen what he was able to do. I believe he's a training partner of Cowboy Cerrone, if I'm not mistaken. And he is a long stay at the ranch where Cowboy runs. Joe Selecki, we've had on the show before. Dwight Grant, we've had on the show before. And Jared Gooden. Jared, unfortunately, got injured and was having to step out of the fight. Hopefully, he's able to get healthy, and we'll see his USA debut coming really soon.
Definitely a lot of interesting matchup. Like you said, there's a bunch of fighters that will make their debuts in this card, if I'm not wrong.
Let's just jump right in it. In the bantamweight division, Timur Valev is taking on Mark Strigoli. Timur is 16-2. Mark is 18-2 with one no contest. They're both pretty big guys. Valev is 2 inches shorter than Mark. Mark is 5'8". This fight is going to be contested in the bantamweight division, but Timur is originally 145 pounds. He's got a 67-inch reach. They don't have reach on Mark here. Like I said, we're both really finding out about these guys right now. And I really feel like by the end of the day, Saturday, we are going to know one of these four fighters a lot better.
Yeah, definitely. Because like we said, there's a lot of fighters that actually are unknown in the UFC stage. So that's the perfect way to start learning about them.
No, 100%. And you and I talk about it all the time. These early prelims, everyone starts on the prelims. Your favorite fighter in the UFC right now started in your backyard in a regional fight in some little tiny casino in their little ballroom You know what I mean? Like everyone starts at the beginning. And Conor McGregor, it wasn't main eventing his UFC pay-per-views in his very first fight. So you got to watch these guys now so you know about them later.
The only way to really start on the main card of a big pay-per-view is that if your name is, I don't know, if you have the whole hype and the whole potential of a guy named CM Punk. That's the only way. That's the only way.
I thought you were going to say like Michael Chandler or something like that.
Nope. Nope. You got to be CM Punk.
Hey, we're going to get cut off there for that comment. Carlton Clutch Minus takes on Matthew Simmonsberg. Samelsberg. I'll tell you how to say it. Matthew is 16-2. Carlton is 10-1 no contest. You may know Carlton from his days at the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. No, I'm just kidding. But like I said, both 170-pound fighters. Naturally, we don't know a whole lot about them yet, but we might know a lot more come Saturday. Now, Ike Villanueva, that guy we do know a little bit about. He unfortunately came in and lost to Chase Sherman in his UFC debut. And that was one of the first fights back when we were in Jacksonville. But he didn't look bad. You know, he's a big dude. Jordan Wright, his opponent, he's 10-0, 1 no contest. His average fight time, 40 seconds.
Really? What?
40 seconds.
Oh, fuck.
Jordan Wright is a light heavyweight from what this says. And he's moving up to heavyweight to fight Ike. I'm guessing it was probably because of the short notice of it.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. Oh, no, sorry. Ike Villanueva is going down to light heavyweight. I am mistaken. So Ike is making and it makes sense. He was like 225 when he weighed in against Sherman. So he's going to cut that 20 pounds, get to 205. I'll be interested to see how he hits the scale tomorrow. I'm guessing he's tapping it right at that 206 limit. I wonder how that weight cut went for him, though.
Very interesting. This Jordan White, actually, I feel like he can be like the bigger name coming out after this show. 10-0, fighting out of Jackson Wink.
Yes. If he's a light heavyweight fighting out of Jacksonville, you know who his training partner is.
Yeah. So
training partner is one of the best in the world.
Exactly.
John Jones.
Exactly. So very interesting.
Very, very interesting. I don't see this fight going to the ground. Strikes absorbed per minute, 15. So he could take a punch, that's for sure. But he gives them. He gives them, definitely. Jordan Wright, Ike Villanueva, watch out for that one. 2 light heavyweights going to battle. That one, I don't think is going to see the judges' scorecards.
Yeah.
Now, the body snatcher, Dwight Grant, returns. And this time he's taking on newcomer Talon Bourne. Like I said, this is a last-minute switch. Our good friend Jared Gooden was originally supposed to take this spot. He had to drop out due to an injury. Dwight Grant holds a 4-inch reach advantage over Talon Bourne. I'm super excited to see this. We know Dwight Grant's last 2 fights were both wins. He beat Charles Jourdain, which was a beautiful fight, and then Petrocelli Jr., who we interviewed him before that fight.
Yeah, very interesting matchup. Dwight Grant, I feel like I'm not sure if it's a step up or a step down for him. Maybe that's the only fight that he had and to accept, because winning against Alain Juban and then fighting against a newbie in the UFC, I'm not sure if it's a good thing for you.
Well, I think either way, he was fighting a new guy, but I want to say Dwight's coming off an injury. So
Maybe.
I think that might have been him and his team's plan, and not the UFC more in general. I think they were just trying to ease him back into it.
That's a possibility, yes.
Austin Hubbard, obviously training partner of Curtis Blaze, is taking on Joe Selecki. Joe, we've had on this show before. I'm super excited about this one. These two guys go out there and throw bombs. Fuck me. Do you really think this fight's going to see a judge's scorecards?
I'm not sure, brother. I'm not sure about anything when it comes to these prelims because...
Average fight time for Joe Selecki is 9 minutes, 25 seconds. Average fight times for Austin Hubbards, 13:45. Average, they don't see the judges.
When you see the stats, when I'm reading those numbers, man, I'm not sure that maybe not even any one of those fights will be going to the judges.
I think the biggest difference would be Joe Solecki and how accurate he is with his punching. 76% striking accuracy. But the defensive Austin Hibbert is not bad. We've seen Austin Hibbert last time against Max Roshkoff, and that was the young man who was making his UFC debut and then ended up, calling it quits. I believe it was in between the second and third round. He was just done. This time, this huge step up for Austin. Joe Solecki is no joke. And like I said, the 76% striking accuracy, you're going to see it. This guy also has beautiful takedowns. 83% takedown. His Austin Hibbert's takedown defense is only 50%. He averages 3.99 takedowns per fight, Joe Solecki. We're going to see this go to the ground. I think Joe has a huge wrestling advantage, even though Austin Hibbert trains with those killer wrestlers. Joe Solecki has the wrestling advantage, and I want to say he has the striking advantage in this one. It might be a long night for Austin Hibbert.
Yeah, very, very interesting matchup. I feel like you said, the fight may go to the ground, and if it goes, it will be on Joe's advantage. So, yeah, interesting matchup.
Yeah, 100%. Now, here is the main event for the prelims. Amanda Lemmons 7-1 versus Mizaki. I don't even know how to say her last name. 14-5. Mizaki, though, interesting, is only 26 years old. So 26 years old, and you already have 19 fights. An amazing fight for a young lady. She won her UFC debut. Now, Amanda Lemmons is 1-1 in the UFC. She beat Amanda Granger last time out. I'm interested of this fight. I really feel like, listen, if Amanda can get this fight to the ground, she's going to hold an extreme advantage, even bigger than Solecki versus Hibbert. If Amanda can get this fight to the ground, it'll be obviously something that's never happened for Mizaki. She has 100% takedown defense in the UFC. But she has never faced a grappler like Amanda. So that'll be the interesting part. If Amanda can take this fight to the ground, though, I definitely think that's where she has her advantage. Striking, these women are damn near equal. Obviously, Mizaki has a little better defense, but Amanda has a little better offense. So those two kind of cancel each other out. Southpaw, orthodox fighters. My biggest takeaway from this is Amanda is the bigger fighter coming down to 35 from 25.
Do you think that the fight will go to the ground or not?
It really, I haven't seen a lot of Mizaki's takedown defense in her last fight against Wu. So I can't give you a definite answer, yes or no, on that one. It's very possible, though. Amanda's BJJ is legit, and I feel like if anyone's going to get her down, it's going to be her. Amanda is a quick finisher, too. She has an average fight time of 5.48. We're talking over 9 fights.
Okay.
For you, this was probably one of the better matchups. I know for me, it definitely is in that preliminary portion of the card. But I'm super excited for the main card. I know up and down that's some pretty good fights. And a lot of people you might know of, obviously you and I know of, but the fans out there in the world might. D-Rod Daniel Rodriguez is taking on Tasaki Sato. Tasaki Sato is 16-3. Rodriguez is 12-1. Rodriguez won his last 2 outings in the UFC. Sato is 2-1. I believe he lost to Belal Muhammad, if I'm not correct, if I'm not mistaken.
Exactly.
And that's your boy.
Yeah, that's my boy. Belal, that's my boy.
Remember the name.
Remember the name, brother.
Now, Daniel Rodriguez is southpaw, taking on the other southpaw, Takashi Sato. Both of these two were phenomenal strikers, but Daniel Rodriguez, let me tell you, that dude puts out a crazy amount of fucking, like, his pressure that he puts on fighters is stupid.
Yeah, listen, this fight, this is a very interesting matchup to start off this main card. I feel like Daniel Rodriguez with an impressive 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fight winning streak right now. So he really going out like a killer for this fight. And Takashi Sato, who's I feel like had better competition, maybe fighting against a guy like Belal Muhammad, even though he lost. But you learn so much from those type of fights. So yeah. So we'll see. Do we have a prediction for this fight?
I think Daniel Rodriguez and his 8.6 strikes landed per minute is just going to be too much for Takashi Sato. I got to go with Rodriguez in this one.
I predict a finish. Don't know which side, but I predict a finish because when I'm looking at Takashi's record, all I see is finishes. It's either him finishing a guy
Great
or getting finished.
takedown defense too by Sato. I just want to point that out.
So, a great matchup. I feel like very interesting matchup.
Yeah, very good. This is the matchup I was most interested in when I was really looking over this card. Shayna Dobson, ever since she's been, through the Ultimate Fighter, has only fought, true contenders, true UFC contenders since she's been here. So when you look at Danger's record, you're like, not too great. She fought against people like Sabina Mazo. Sabina Mazo is on her way to being one of the better flyweights in the world. She trains every single day with featherweight Chris Cyborg at King's MMA. People like that are the type of girls that, Shayna's really just grinding her teeth against. Shayna has only had 7 professional fights in her entire life.
Yeah.
So when you think about a 31-year-old with 7 professional fights, it's crazy when you see Mariana Agapova, the 23-year-old with only 9 professional fights. This 23-year-old, too, is no joke. We said, obviously, she's from Kazakhstan. She's just, for the very first time, seen, and this is no joke, microwaves, like ovens, electricity.
Ah, come on. What the fuck?
In her interview, she didn't have electricity in her house when she was growing up. Yes.
Oh, that's impressive.
Yeah, she didn't have a microwave. She didn't have shit like that. Like, that shit wasn't afforded to her and her family. They just didn't have the money. And in Kazakhstan, obviously, it's a truly a poor country. So when she said that she got the check and she said, she got her $50,000, the tax man came in, got his money, and ended up being like close to 40, like 38, something like that, $38,000. She was like, that's more money than my entire family's ever earned.
My God, that's crazy. And listen, those guys, like those type of fighters, the type of fighters that come out from this kind of living, they're different breed. Like, listen, I'm sure. Listen, you know what? You got me hyped up because when you told me this, you really got me hyped up because I know how that feel coming out of Africa. I know people who were really poor, so I know how this is, and I know how crazy and how good they are when you give them an opportunity. So you know what? I'm pretty sure that she will deliver, and I know that she will deliver in this fight.
Yeah, I'm super excited. 23 years old too, man. Yeah. Super young. The sky's the limit. And like I said to you earlier, I really feel like she could one day potentially challenge Valentina Shevchenko.
She can, and
it'll be an interesting matchup too. If you keep letting her grow, and you keep giving her these big names, I feel like one day she could challenge Valentina.
And when you see the age, you feel like maybe when she will reach her prime, Valentina Shevchenko maybe will
already be gone.
Already be gone. So maybe it will be perfect for her because she will be on top. Valentina Shevchenko maybe will be like kind of maybe last fights in her MMA career. So who knows, maybe, but it's still very early to talk about that. She needs to win against a very dangerous Shayna Dobson.
Yeah, Shayna is no joke, and I'm excited for this fight. Both these women are very evenly matched as well. 5'6" for both of them. Shayna has a 1-inch reach advantage. Strikes landed per minute, damn near even, over 3.5 for both of them. Strikes absorbed on the higher side for Miss Dobson there for 5.4. Biggest takeaway for me, though, is that I don't think that this fight's going to go to the ground. And if it goes to the ground, like Mr. Dobson, Mariana pops right back up. So if Shayna's whole game plan is to go in here and try to out-wrestle her, out-grapple her, I don't think that's the right game plan coming into it.
Well, Maria have some finishes on the ground, so I'm not sure. I don't think that she will be afraid to go to the ground.
No, she's definitely not afraid. But I think with her takedown defense, she's going to keep it standing because I definitely feel like she has an advantage there.
She has options. Even if it goes to the ground, she has options.
100%. Now, our big main man Mr. Slow Mike Rodriguez is going to be joining us later. But on Saturday night, he's going to be taking on Marcin Parsanio. This is a great matchup between two guys who are coming off of a loss, big-time light heavyweights. Very big Mike Rodriguez, 6'4", 82-inch reach advantage. I believe that's like second or third in the UFC. Crazy.
Yeah.
Big dudes. Mike Rodriguez, unfortunately, hasn't been on the best side since he's joining the UFC. He's lost more than he's won. He's got 1 no contest, 1 win, 2 losses. But this is definitely the type of fight where he could turn around. Pokonov on the other side has lost to Alvi, and Ankalaev, Magomed Ankalaev is no joke. Okay? No joke. I mean, the dude is a beast. There's a reason why Marcin lost to him in, I believe it was like the first round. And if not, it was very early in the second round. Marcin used to be a middleweight. That's where I believe he fought Alvi at, was middleweight. If not, it was at light heavyweight. But Alvi even put him away. When you see stuff like that, and then you see he's going up against a striker like Mike Rodriguez, who trains under Joe Lozon, who has been in the UFC now for a minute, who came up through the Contender Series with a huge knockout. I really feel like this is really setting Mike up to, finally get on the right track in his UFC career.
Yeah. Listen, I feel like for Rodriguez, this is the perfect matchup for Rodriguez. A fighter coming out of a 2-fight losing streak, that's the perfect matchup for him to bounce back. And for Marcin, it's the same thing because Mike Rodriguez didn't find himself. He's not on a winning streak also, and he's not finding himself yet in the UFC. So both fighters,
100%, like his confidence isn't behind him like it usually is when he comes off of big wins.
Exactly. So for both fighters, I feel like it was the best matchup for them, especially if for the winner of course. But very interesting matchup for a third fight in the main card, which is pretty interesting. It's the Coco.
The Coco main event, y'all.
That's pretty interesting.
The true co-main event is a banger at the light heavyweight division.
Yeah.
Ovin St. Preux versus Alonzo Minifield is a great fight. Listen, we all know what OSP does, okay? Minifield even better. 9-1, 4.4 minutes and 40 seconds is his average fight time. Yeah. Crazy. And he doesn't have the longest arms for a light heavyweight, but let me tell you what, this dude makes up for it. He is explosive.
He is. Listen, he didn't look good in his last fight. I feel like there was a huge hype behind him, and he didn't perform very well in his last fight on Alonso, if you remember. But this is the perfect fight for him to bounce back.
So good, though.
OSP, man, listen. In one way, I want Alonso to succeed in this fight. In the other way, I want OSP to do that choke, that St. Preux choke, because every time I see it, it's amazing. I cannot get enough of it. It's amazing. The guy have one choke. It's like Olenek. He have his thing. Yeah, he's the best at it. Nobody do it better. And it's in a position where people will think that maybe the other guy will not tap out, and they go down. They tap out, or they.
Listen, in jiu-jitsu, I felt people coming for it a couple times. I'm like, I'm not holding this guillotine. I'm good. I know it happens.
Yeah,
I've seen this
crazy.
Before.
That's dangerous. But Alonso, man, talk to us a little bit about Alonso and how powerful he is.
Good, man. Super crazy power. Not even just great power. He's got great takedown defense too. 85% takedown, and he has the power to put people out with one punch. He lands 3.75 strikes per minute. And his accuracy is 47%. He's not the most accurate fighter, but once he hits you with some of those bombs, man, it's literally lights out for people.
Do you think that maybe OSP, seeing how the last fight Alonso lost, maybe he have like an idea of what to do to win this fight?
If OSP takes this fight to the ground, I think it's the best thing for him. Alonzo Minifield off his back doesn't have the same amount of power as he has standing up.
Yeah. So that's a very interesting matchup.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see this one. Who do you got coming out victorious, Alonzo Minifield or OSP?
You know what? I think that's if this fight goes to the ground, and I see it goes to the ground because OSP is so powerful, he can bring the fight to the ground. I think OSP will win this fight by submission.
I see. I think OSP realizes he has to take this fight to the ground. I think that's where he gets caught, though. I think Alonzo Minifield catches OSP trying to get him to the ground and puts him out.
Maybe. We will see.
Very interesting matchup. Now, here we are to the main event. Like I was talking about earlier, Frankie Edgar's very first fight in the bantamweight division. The answer is taking on none other than the young Punisher, Pedro Munhoz. Now, I've seen Pedro Munhoz fight twice so far. He kicked John Dodson in his nuts about 75 times, and then he knocked out Cody Garbrandt. I was super excited about the Garbrandt knockout because, fuck that guy. But I fucking can't wait for this fight. Truly, if either one of these gentlemen win, it really propels him in that 135-pound division. But if Frankie wins, it propels him even more.
Yeah, I agree with you. And they both come out of a loss. Actually, Frankie is in a 2-fight losing streak. He lost against Holloway, and then he lost against the Korean Zombie in another finish. The second time he got stopped, which is kind of makes me think, does Frankie is
short
good
notice,
or
I think that fight on short notice. He stepped in for Ortega.
If I'm not wrong, it is. But Frankie never been stopped until Brian Ortega stopped him, and now in his last 4 fights, he got stopped 2 times. One of them being against Brian. It's kind of make me wonder if Frankie, because the myth was to take out Frankie. Nobody would do that. Ask Aldo. Aldo been killing him in 10 rounds and he couldn't finish him. Killing him. So it makes me wonder if Same thing. There's no die in Frankie Edgar. There's no die in it. So seeing him getting knocked out 2 times makes me wonder if he's good or if it's the end of Frankie Edgar. But Pedro Munhoz, let me tell you
gone away.
Yeah, exactly. So, but let me tell you something about Pedro Munhoz, because Pedro Munhoz, everyone is behind the hype of he knocked out Cody Garbrandt or whatever. He lost his last fight to Aljo, and against Cody, and this is my opinion, I feel like if Cody wasn't fighting dumb, he would have won that fight. He won just exactly.
Stupid. Why go into a firefight with somebody who's got hands like Munhoz when your chin is suspect as fuck?
Exactly, and I feel like if you're not stupid, you win. You can win against Pedro Munhoz. Now, this is a very interesting matchup. First fight of Frankie Edgar in this division. I feel like Frankie in this fight. I like Frankie's chances in this fight. I really do.
Listen, I think Frankie needs to go in there and wrestle him. Pedro Munhoz, the speed is now evened up. He doesn't have a speed advantage over anybody in this division at 135 pounds. Pedro Munhoz lands 5.29 strikes per minute. He absorbs 6.71. So obviously these guys are a million times faster than the competition he's used to at featherweight and lightweight. Saying that, you can make them look real slow on the ground. Real slow. Merab Dvalishvili has made a career of it outside of John Dodson.
Yeah.
If Frankie uses his wrestling pedigree and he's used to wrestling with bigger guys, Frankie Edgar will win this fight. If he decides to keep this fight standing, Pedro Munhoz has a good chance of knocking him out and really stamping himself as a bantamweight contender.
Frankie has so many options. I feel like his grappling can really make him win this fight a lot of easier, but he can knock him out also. Frankie, we're talking about speed, but we're not talking about the power. Frankie been fighting and knocking out lightweight fighters, and this is in the bantamweight. I feel like the power of Frankie can be very, very important. Now it depends on how he will weight
the power transition
Exactly. So we will see, but very interesting, and I really hope that Frankie will shine again in this division.
I'm excited, man. Like I said, if Frankie wins this fight, it really boosts him in that bantamweight title picture. I don't see anyone. If Frankie can win this fight, get a fight against somebody like a Garbrandt,
Yeah.
dude, he's right up there in the short list. Jan versus Sterling's next, but unless Henry comes back or TJ comes back and gets a dominant victory, Frankie's right there.
Just want to say this, not related to that fight, but I'm still mad and kind of sad that we didn't have to see Frankie Edgar back when he was still relevant, really, against McGregor. I'm still like, for me, it's that featherweight fight. I really feel that we got robbed.
Yeah, there's a couple that I would have loved to have seen with McGregor, and I don't think it's going to happen now. No. RDA at lightweight, I really wanted to see that fight. I was intrigued when they announced that at first. I was like, ooh, that's a great matchup. RDA at that point was just murking motherfuckers. And I mean, like, he made Cowboy look silly, legitimately murdering dudes. So when they said that he was going to fight McGregor, I was like, ooh, that aggressive style, how's it going to work with McGregor's beautiful counter strikes? It was interesting, and it's one that we're probably not going to see. Tony versus Khabib, another one we're not going to see most likely. We did get the poor man's Tony Khabib. We got Islam versus RDA.
Yeah,
so there's that.
That's not bad.
It's not horrible.
It's not horrible.
For you, give me 3 fights to watch.
All right, brother. I will go first with, you know what? I will go with what's the fight I'm talking about? Carlton Munhoz actually against Matthew, if I'm not wrong. That's the fight I was going to talk about, because for me it's a very interesting matchup, and the fact that he have 10 wins. Oh no, sorry. I'm not talking about I'm
Jordan
not
Wright.
Talking about Carlton Munhoz. Jordan Wright, exactly. Sorry, I'm talking about Jordan Wright. Jordan Wright, his MMA record and the way he's winning, it makes me wonder how good he is. So that's the first fight. The second fight,
Villanueva going from heavyweight to 205. That's really intriguing to me as well. I want to see if he's able to take a lot of power with him to 205. Because if he is, he was knocking out heavyweight. So if he's able to take some of that power with him to 205, watch out, man.
Exactly.
And
the second fight for me
got taken out of the way in 205. So.
Yeah. The second fight for me will be OSP against Alonzo Minfield, because I feel like I want to see a choke. I want to see OSP choke. I don't give a fuck. I want to see that choke. An attempt or whatever, but I want to see that choke. And the third fight for me will be the main event, Frankie against Pedro. No doubt, Frankie, really hope he can bounce back in this division.
All right, so 3 fights for me. Obviously, I cannot wait for the Austin Hubbard versus Joe Solecki fight. I feel like those two, it's going to be fireworks for sure. Those two go in there and put on great performances each time. Mariana Agapova versus Shanna Dobson. Yeah. I really feel like Mariana is the future of this flyweight division. And then Mike Rodriguez versus Marcin. I feel like these two gentlemen, with their losses, are going to go in there with just ill intent to try to knock each other out. And those are the type of fights that are beautiful. Expect violence.
They are on the main card for a reason. They are in the co-main event, like you say, for a reason.
And let me point this out. The preliminary portions of the card is on ESPN+. The main card is on ESPN.
Okay. That's good.
So get ready, guys. Can't wait. Beautiful night of fights on Saturday. Anything else for UFC Fight Night? Edgar versus Munhoz.
Nothing special. I feel like there's a lot of intriguing and interesting matchup and interesting fighter to watch and to look out after. So, yeah, very excited.
Yeah, I am as well. I can't wait for this. Super excited for this fight night. A lot of names you might not know, like I said, on Thursday, but you're going to know them come Saturday. That's about it. That wraps it up for UFC Fight Night. Edgar versus Munhoz. We're going to have Mike Rodriguez a little later on in the day, so I'll have that interview out as soon as I get it done. But thank you guys for joining us again and sticking through this entire episode. And stay classy.
Peace.